Welcome back to Maximum Leverage. What is it? Simply, it's the difference between a thriving and successful online home based business and one that's ultimately doomed to fail. It's about getting maximum online exposure, generating maximum leads, making maximum profit, and recruiting the maximum number of prospects possible with minimum time, energy, and complexity on your part. So, what we're going to get into in this lesson is a couple cool ninja lead getting secrets. In fact, like our little friend here, once we get through this lesson, you can consider yourself a ninja lead getting expert. If you're brand new, what this lesson is going to provide for you is two brand new strategies you can plug and play to generate leads within the next 24 hours or less. If you've been in business for a while, what this lesson is going to provide for you is two new strategies that you can use, plug and play, to generate new leads within the next 24 hours or less. So let's get to it. So let's do a quick recap of what we've covered so far. In lesson number one, what we talked about was maximum leverage, what it is. We started out by providing some proof that shows you that you can actually go out there and get more online exposure than even your own online home-based business opportunity, even if it has tens of thousands of active distributors. Strange but true. We then went on to talk about whether or not recruiting was the ultimate answer. And we found out that it's part of the answer, but not the whole. Then we went on to define the three key factors of a maximum leverage business. If you focus on leads, relationships, and profits, you literally force your business to succeed. In lesson two, we went back to basics and we talked about how to attract prospects without being an expert. And we realized that the key factors to attracting prospects are two things: attracting a hungry crowd, the Gary Halbert story I told you about, and getting into the mindset of our prospects through a few questions. Once we have that, once we're in that place, then we can either attract our prospects by doing one of two things: moving them towards a pleasure or away from a pain. Once we have that, all we have to do is create the appropriate bait, create a landing page, and we're off and running without being an expert. So before we move forward, let me remind you where we're going to go next. In the next lesson, after you know how to get leads here today, we're going to talk about how to develop relationships with them, with the relationship formula. From there, we're going to move on to talk about how to turn your prospects into cash in minimum time. Finally, we're going to end off this maximum leverage training series with one of my favorite zero resistance recruiting strategies. So, what are we going to cover right now? We're going to start off with lead getting foundational lessons. We're going to talk about what multiple streams of leads are in the maximum leverage philosophy. I'm going to tell you a story that I call the blindfold archer, and you'll understand why it's important when we get there. From there, we're going to move on to our lead getting strategy number one, how to generate free leads without a website. And then we're going to end our lesson with our second strategy, how to get $8 leads for $1 or less. Not a bad discount if you ask me. So let's get into it. How do you get leads on the internet, right? That's the big question. Well, the way we do that is through what's called targeted traffic generation. And if that sounds complex to you, really it's very simple. Think about it like this. All you do is you find a group of prospects who could be interested in what you have to offer, find out where they hang out, you put your link in front of them for your website. When they click it, you've just generated targeted traffic. Congratulations. That's really all it is. And so what I want you to do right now is to take a step back and think about some of the things that you do online. Are you on any newsletters that you like to read on a daily basis? Do you ever click any of the links in them? If you do, you've been used as targeted traffic by the owner of that newsletter. Do you ever go to Google and search for stuff? When you search for that stuff, do you ever click on any of the links? Either free or paid. If so, again, you've been turned into targeted traffic. So The reason I want you to think about these things, and there's probably, 20 or 30 other things that you do online that turns you into targeted traffic for others, is because whatever works on you or me absolutely works on our prospects as well. So, as a person that's generated a lot of leads, one thing I can say that's absolutely true is if you can get one lead, you can get thousands. And the way you go about doing that is through the process of generating multiple streams of leads. Why this is important, first off, let me take a step back and say what I see a lot of people do out there online, I think is a mistake in the maximum leverage philosophy, the way of thinking about things. See, what a lot of people do is they focus on one way of getting traffic. And well, just like a building with only one pillar won't stand, getting traffic from one strategy alone is a very risky way of running your business. What multiple streams of leads does for you is it lets you sleep good at night. If any one strategy doesn't work perfectly one day, well, you've got 20 others. That's why it's so important. It creates the proper foundation of stability at the very base of your business. So what I want to talk to you about real quick is the Google slap story. So if you've been online for any length of time, you've probably heard that every now and then Google comes around and does an entire slap of our industry, and lots of people's businesses go under. And I've been around when this stuff happens, and I've seen many a friend go into a cold sweat trying to figure out what to do next. Me, I never worry about it because Google's one strategy. Sure, things may go down for a little while there, but I've got 20 other ways of getting leads that are bringing me results. So not a big deal. My business just keeps on running smoothly. That's why multiple streams of leads are important. And the lesson here is you don't want to let the Google slap story happen to you. You want a business that's stable and runs smoothly day in and day out, no matter what happens to any one strategy. Who cares? You've got 20 more. So, how do you go about creating multiple streams of leads for your life and your business? Well, really, it's a simple 3-step process. Step number 1, learn traffic generation strategy. There's 2 parts of learning. Part A is learning in a classroom setting from a book, training video, or in a class. And part B, which I think a lot of people miss and don't see, is getting out there and doing it, learning experientially. Once you've done that, step 2 is getting proficient at that first traffic generation strategy. What does that mean? Simply making 1 cent more than you spend. Why is that important? Because once you've gotten proficient, you effectively have a stream of leads that's going to provide leads to you forever for free. So once you got that, what you do is you put it on autopilot. That's step number 3. Once you've got it on autopilot, now you can move on to the next strategy. And the way that you go from 0 leads to a lot of leads over the course of time is just following this 3-step process over and over again. Before you know it, you look up and you've got leads coming from you from places you can't even remember, and your business is standing on incredibly stable ground. So that's why multiple streams of leads are important. Now we're at the point in our lesson here today where we need to talk about the story of the blind archer. And the reason I tell this story is to highlight the importance of tracking in your business. So I want you to imagine yourself as a person who loves archery. For whatever reason, you think archery is just like the best thing in the world. And so you go out and you buy every book, every course you can on becoming a fantastic archer. You get the best trainers in the world to coach you personally. You go out and you even buy the best equipment, the best bow and arrow. And you practice, you're ready to go, and you enlist yourself in your first tournament. You pull up your bow, and you've got your arrow ready to shoot. But before you can shoot it, someone puts a blindfold on you, and the target starts moving all over the place. So the question is, in that scenario, how likely are you to hit the target? And if you do get lucky enough to hit the target once, how likely are you to hit it a second time? Not very likely. And well, that's exactly what running your business and generating leads is like if you're not tracking everything that you're doing. So the moral of the story here is you have to track everything that you do, or else you're just taking shots in the dark. In fact, you shouldn't even go out and try to generate leads unless you know how you're going to track them. So you must track everything that you do and everything that we talk about here today. So, foundational wrap up. What is targeted traffic? Find out where your leads hang out, put a link in front of them. When they click it, poof, targeted traffic. Remember, the most dangerous number on the foundational level of your business when it comes to getting leads is 1. You want multiple streams of leads. And the way you do that is a simple 3-step process. Learn in a classroom, experientially, part B. Step 2, get proficient, earn 1 cent more than you spend. Step 3, put it on autopilot. Then you go out and you learn the next traffic generation strategy. That's how you generate multiple streams of leads. Finally, foundation wrap up is track or die. I don't think I need to say anything more on that particular point. So, let's get to Ninja Lead Getting Secret number 1. Leads without a website. I know you're like, huh, what the heck? How do you do this? Well, let's go through and I'm going to show you. So, what are the tools you need for this? You need an autoresponder and you need time. That's it. The responsiveness of this particular method is about an 8 out of 10. And you're going to see what I mean by that with some proof in just a few minutes. The advantage of this particular strategy is once you set it in place, you're going to be getting traffic for a very long time, and it's going to grow over time. Secondarily, there's no risk to you. This is totally free to do. So, the strategy that we're talking about is a strategy that never dies. It's free content marketing with a twist. The twist is you don't even need a website. So before we get into actually how to do this, I want you to think about the internet in a certain way. Think about the internet like this, and then you'll understand how all this works. Think about it as this large growing organism of content. Every day, every second of the day, there's more content being added to the internet from all sides. And the way that companies like Google make money in this scenario is they bring order to all that content, right? We go to Google and we do a search and we use Google because we trust that Google's going to give us the most relevant results. Well, the way that we play that game is we add content. We add content to the internet. This large, thriving, growing organism, it's alive, and we add value. And the way we extract value, get paid for what we do, is we get leads. And this is the method that we're going to go through right now. So here's some proof. So first off, I want to show you longevity proof. As you can see here, this is a simple Google search for the term internet network marketing. You can see that there's about 83,800,000 results. And there's an article that comes up at the top. This is an article, piece of content I created a few years back, November 25th of 2005. And since that date, anytime anyone searches for internet network marketing, they found me. That's why this thing's so powerful. That's why it works long term. You do it once, and whenever someone searches for you, they find you right there at the top. I'm going to show you how to get there too. So, here's the simple strategy. Number 1, find keyword. Number 2, create content on keyword. Number 3, submit content to multiple article directories on the internet. Number 4, get leads. So we're going to dig into this a little deeper. But really, if you can get that, you can use this strategy day in, day out, and make it work. It's just a simple process. So here's how you get traffic with free content. This is important that we go over because it helps you understand really how this thing works. There's 3 ways where you get traffic with content marketing. Number 1, you get traffic from the search engines like Google and Yahoo, like the example I showed you with internet network marketing. Number 2, you get traffic internally from the article directories you submit your content to. Number three, and probably the most powerful and long-lived of all of these traffic streams that you get from submitting content, is you get traffic virally from people. Remember the internet, it's this large, thriving, growing organism of content. You get traffic virally from other people, webmasters who have websites, who pick up your content and put it on their website because it matches the content of their website. They need content. They take your content, they use it, and your message gets spread virally across the internet for it. It's important that you know that these are the three traffic sources, three ways you're getting traffic from this particular strategy, because one of the questions that always comes up when I talk about any part of this strategy is, well, Dagan, what about the duplicate content penalties that Google puts on people? Which basically is, I won't give you a long explanation about this, but basically what it boils down to is, what is rumored is if you put content out there on the internet, what Google does is they take one example of that content, if it's the same content, and only index that. And so what people get worried about is, well, if I put my same content in several places, I won't get indexed for all that content. What's important, especially in the maximum leverage way of thinking about these things, is it doesn't matter. You just want to get your stuff out there because you're getting traffic from three places. The search engines, well, you only need one to get indexed for that. Internally from article directories, each article directory you put your content into, you're going to get traffic from, so might as well put the same content everywhere. And virally, when people pick it up, they're not looking through several different article directories to see if you've got the same article. So for speed, who cares about duplicate content? Just put yourself out there. That's how I do it, and it's worked for years for me. So let that go. So here's the specifics of this tactic, and we've got one level of specifics to go into after this as well. So take it a piece at a time, peeling the onion. First off, what you want to do is you want to find keywords using the Google Keyword Tool. The way you find the Google Keyword Tool is just by doing a simple Google search for Google Keyword Tool. You'll find it. Once you do that, you want to choose keywords with low competition and high traffic. And you'll understand what that means once you get in and you start playing with the Google Keyword Tool. Next, all you want to do is write a 350-word article, piece of content. You can do that a couple different ways. Here's two simple plug-and-play ways to do it. You can do a 7 ways article. 7 ways to grow your internet network marketing business. A couple sentences on each of the ways, and you've got 350 words. Or a simple how-to article. How to grow your internet network marketing business, following the problem, agitate, solve model. Problem. Most internet network marketers that get started in their business get confused. They don't know what to do first. Agitate. And it doesn't help that everyone's screaming at them, telling them what to do. But the solution is to simply go out and use tried and true traffic generation strategies to generate leads to grow your internet network marketing business. So just a quick example, problem, agitate, solve. 2 very simple plug and play ways to create content quickly. By the way, 350 words, I use that number specifically because from my own results, I've always found that the shorter pieces of content I create tend to outproduce the longer pieces of content when it comes to traffic and leads. So actually, being brief helps you here. So let me give you some results of just following this formula before we get in a little deeper, because here's what really matters. People always want to know, what does it look like when I do this right? So here's results of 10 articles that I put out there a few months ago. Not that we're going to spend much time here, but I put 10 articles out. As you can see here, I got 1,197 clicks. From those 1,197 clicks, I generated 483 leads. And from those 483 leads, I made $915.83. So, free traffic pays. All you've got to ask yourself now, it was writing 10 articles worth $915 to you. If it is, get out there and start doing it. And then you start multiplying. Well, what if I do 20? What if I do 30? That's when it starts to get exciting and cool. But here's, undeniable proof. Absolutely works. Put them out there, let them go, and The money came in. So let's get to the next level of specifics on this particular Ninja secret. So we've talked about getting a keyword, writing content around that keyword. You want to make sure you put the main keyword in the headline once per paragraph. At the end of your content, you want to remind your reader to look at your resource box. If you don't know what that is, you'll tell you in just a second. Because your resource box is where you get your traffic. What it is it's simply a little bio about you. Dagan Smith is, Mary Jones is, or it can be a classified ad. So in the next slide, what I'm going to share with you is how to turn that resource box into 100% lead conversion strategy. In other words, every single person that takes action is going to turn into a lead for you. So here's how to get leads with this strategy even without a website. Simple. As I said, you get traffic from your content via your resource box. What most people do is they provide a URL. Go to this website as a call to action. The way to increase your results and get leads directly without even needing a website is to, instead of using a URL, put in an autoresponder email address. Here's an example. Free report reveals, and then a bunch of text. I think I have a typo in there, which I apologize for, but you can see the call to action at the end there is to request simply, it should say simple, it should say simply, excuse me there. Simply send a blank email to whatever your autoresponder address is. Now everybody that responds turns into a lead for you, and you don't even need a website to do it. So that's how to get leads for free without even needing a website. Let's move on to Ninja lead getting secret number 2. How to get $8 leads for $1 or less. The tools you'll need: Google AdWords account, lead capture page, like we talked about in the last lesson. Responsiveness of this particular strategy is about an 8 out of 10. An advantage is speed. For a lot of people, getting Google AdWords to work takes time. Well, this strategy that I'm going to share with you works immediately. So you go do this and you immediately start getting leads. And it's simple as heck, so pretty cool. So what I want to do first is take a step back and talk to you about offline lead generation. Now, as I said, I've experienced and tested and used leads from all over the place. And bar none, offline leads tend to be the most responsive. The reason why is they're harder to get, right? You have to put a postcard in the mail. You have to pay postage to get it in the mail. And then they have to pick up that postcard, see your website, come back and see what you're about, and then decide to opt in. So there's a lot of steps in between there that make them harder to get, which translates into the person that goes through all those steps is really motivated. Of all the lead generation strategies I've used, offline leads are about the best. So here are the stats. Postcard opt-in rate. If you're doing offline lead generation, the opt-in rate's about 50%. Conversion to sale tends to be about 10% or greater. Not bad at all. But the disadvantage of offline lead generation, and this is going to tie into our Google AdWords strategy you'll see very soon, is it's more costly. You can't just test offline lead generation unless you got a full-on business strategy. In fact, offline leads can typically cost you $8 or far more, which could be fine or not, just depending on what sort of a business you're in. So, how do you get offline quality leads online? That's what we're going to talk about right now. This is a cool, and this really truly is a ninja secret that works very well. Let me show you some results. From using this strategy that we're about to go through, you can see that the leads that I generated, if you look down to the bottom, I got about 2,677 clicks, 1,639 leads for 95 cents a piece at about a 41.95 conversion rate. Not bad at all, if I don't say so myself. How did I do it? Simple. Buy home business magazines, go to Borders Books, or go online to Amazon.com or something like that and buy home business magazines. There's several in the niche. One of the most notable is Home Business Magazine. Also make sure and so what you do is when you buy these home business magazines, what you'll see is inside of the magazine, there's all sorts of space ads. So what you do is you go and you buy these magazines and you pull out all the space ads, all the URLs of websites that people are advertising in those space ads. But you don't want to use a trademark ones because Google doesn't like that. But you pull out the URLs and those are what you advertise on in Google. So a little image of Home Business Magazine for you there. So here's how you do it. You get your magazine, you go through it. In fact, I had my younger brother do this, which was so cool. I said, hey, Josh, hey, go through these magazines. We went to Borders Books one day. I think we spent $30 on magazines. And Josh, pull out all the URLs and do exactly what I'm going to tell you guys to do. And it turned into 1,600 leads. That's just from one magazine. There's lots more. You pull out the URL. An example is www.maximum-leverage.com. And you use all the different variations. These are going to be your keywords in your Google AdWords account. And you can see all the different variations. What you also want to do is use a broad phrase and exact match. And you use these keywords to advertise in Google. Step number 2 is you create your ad. What you do is you put your URL, the URL from the space ad in the headline. The first line of your ad, you put a problem. Tired of not making money? Sick of your job? Here's a solution free. Line number 2, the solution. Then where you put in your URL, you put in your own URL for them to click on to get to your website. Very simple. Why this works? Honestly, there's absolutely no competition. I probably shouldn't be telling you this because bar none, I get the cheapest leads, as I showed you, highest conversion, because what I'm actually doing, remember we talked about offline lead generation, is I'm pulling offline leads on the internet. Why? Because the people that read those magazines, what they did is they took the magazine to the computer, looked up the URL. Because I advertised on those keywords, now you can too, the URL as a keyword in the different phrase and broad and general match, I was the only ad that came up. So I paid very little per click. And because I was the only one there, I got all the attention. So my conversion rates were extremely high. It's incredibly simple to do. Like I said, I had my brother do it. Leads are highly motivated because remember what they're doing. They're going from offline, looking at a magazine, finding a URL, then going online to do some research, finding you, clicking on your link, and getting into your funnel. So conclusion. These are only 2 of many lead getting secrets, but these are 2 of my favorites. If you didn't get them as we went through this lesson the first time, make sure you go through them again. Put them into play in your business because they absolutely work. This is how you get leads, maximum leverage style, the easy way. So you simply do what works. And what I showed you, I always like to provide proof. Both of these work very, very well. Please go do them. Get to it, like I said. So here's what's next. Before you get to it, let me remind you about what's coming up next. Now that I've shown you how to get leads, next lesson we're going to talk about how to develop relationships with your prospects. Then we're going to talk about how to turn your prospects into cash. And finally, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite zero resistance recruiting strategies. I'll see you next time.